Hi, welcome to 50's AF podcast with Nicole Chanis and my beautiful guest, Dana Rossi. Welcome.
Thank you for having me again.
We are sisters of a club that we just don't want to be, but we are widows and we are the same age as well. So we decided there's so many people that talk about being widows and the sad part of it and woe is me, which is all true. We've all gone through that journey. Mm-hmm. But I thought, and you thought, let's just sit down and talk the other part, the funny shit that happens as a widow that I know it may not sound funny, but it is funny. Dana, how long have you been a widow?
It was 9 years this month. July is 9 years.
9 years.
Yes.
Okay. So, and Dana has younger kids than me. So that's important also to keep into consideration. So I became a widow when my kids, they were in college. So, or just out. They were in college. No, out of college. But the point is, this is one thing that always bothered me. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in a better place.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Well, not he's in a better place because mine wasn't sick.
Right.
But yeah, I'm so, I don't even like to tell people I'm a widow because then it's the whole, I'm so sorry. And it's even like a buzzkill. If you're talking to someone and you're out, it just changes the whole mood, you know? It does.
Yeah. People are so freaking uncomfortable. They think we're this. And of course, a new widow is going to be more fragile.
Absolutely,
of course. Yeah. But it's I think people feel like there's this manual of scripted answers they need to give when they meet you as a widow. They're oh, and automatically you get that, oh, it's that sigh. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Right. But you know what? Sometimes there'll be someone that's oh, what happened? How old was he? How did it happen? And
oh, really?
I like that. Oh. Because I feel like it makes me feel better sometimes kind of to talk about it because no one ever wants to.
Yeah.
And it's a little therapeutic. I don't mind that. I'd rather that than feel sorry for me. Mm-hmm. It happened and, I'm great now. And, I adopted a child after he died and you move on, you get stronger.
Yeah. No, 100%. And, I have heard a lot of people say on the dating apps, a lot of guys will once they hear you're a widow, they kind of get funky. They don't know how to deal with it. Do you find that there's a little bit of a switch when a guy learns you're a widow versus just being single?
I don't say I'm a widow on dating apps because I am kind of private and I don't think that's anyone's business yet. Also, I don't know. Sometimes someone will see, a widow. Oh, I'm going to get a rich widow. You know what I mean? That's a little too much information.
Do you ever have people okay, so we all love our friends and we have our girlfriends, but sometimes I think being the only single girl, and I know I have a few single girlfriends and I know you do too. I'm talking about the married ones.
Yeah.
They're always all about, and I guess single ones too, but they want to give us advice. They have our best interests, 100%. But sometimes it's I got this. Sometimes I feel like someone would be oh, is he after you for your money? I hate that when people are looking for an angle. Because I'm a widow versus just being out of a divorce, I feel like friends are more protective and they don't trust somebody's right away. What's their motive in dating you? Do you ever run into that? I think
you're lucky that you have friends like that because I don't. My friends are think I'm desperate, I guess. I'm fine alone. I'm happy. And if I meet someone, it will be great. So I'm very, very picky. And they're oh, you should just give this one a chance. So what if you didn't like him on the first and second date? Try him again. They think I have to be desperate like that.
Right.
No one watches out for me. They kind of push me to, and I'm
is that watching out for you? To push you out of your comfort zone?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a little bit.
So you're pretty hardcore. I think in talking to you over time, you're first date.
I
you
know.
make your decision on the first date.
I don't want to jump across the table on the first date. It's not, it's chemistry. It does, you know what? It doesn't have to be the best looking person at all. Actually, I don't even like perfect looking people. Yeah. It has to be that chemistry, that witty, sexy chemistry.
Yes.
Period. No crickets. You just can't stop talking. talking to each other and
it's like, I'm looking at him and I just want to fucking jump him.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
That is the
Yes.
best. Like, and that is, I often say like, kind of, I feel like I'm got it kind of good. Like, not woe is me. I'm 55 and I'm single. What's my life? I get to pick a guy and get that spark on. Where all our friends that are like married for X many years,
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
How cool is it when you like have that feeling and the juices are going and it's like, ooh,
I don't know.
this is
I haven't
great.
had it
You
in a
haven't
long
had-
time.
Okay, how's a long time?
Long time.
Like sex or juices
you know
going?
what? Like now, when I think about it, I'm like, God, I can't even imagine if I was still married for so long. Like, how do you really stay? I would stay monogamous because I'm a loyal person.
Yeah.
But how do you stay monogamous to the same person for your whole life?
I know it's really kind of true when you think about it, because you and I are very much, you're an avid reader. I know that. And it's like, we are okay with our alone time.
Yeah.
There are people that need it, but we're okay with our alone time. So I think it's just like, in a marriage long term, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like, I mean, I have some friends that have like still to put on the porn and they get hot and heavy.
Yeah.
But that's far and few in between.
Yeah.
And
but you
it's
kind of
like-
got to do that. Otherwise, you're like roommates.
Yeah, do you know how many of my friends are like that?
Yeah.
What about you? Like, what are your married friends like in comparison?
I don't, you know what? I don't really get too much into their personal lives. I try to, because, I live in a community that's very suburban and gossipy, and I kind of try to not get too involved in their personal lives, to be honest.
Right.
I'd rather not.
Right. No, I have friends that like talk to me and, I have this thing and, I say it all the times. I feel like I'm a broken record. And I used to say this even when I was married. I would be like in a group of friends. They were older, right? And we'd be talking about sex, which is like taboo, God forbid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so what are you doing to amp it up? They're like, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, fucking answer the door naked with a pair of heels.
Right.
Wrap in saran wrap. I don't
Yeah.
know. Do something to shake it up. And they're like, oh, that's too much effort. I'm like,
That's what
would he
keeps
like
it hot.
it?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, he would. But I'm like, why do you think people just give up in long-term relationships?
A friend of mine in the neighborhood, it was her anniversary. They've been married for a long time. She's like, I don't know what to get him. I'm like, get sexy lingerie.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I would never do that. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Right. I know. I remember like, my late husband didn't really like lingerie. He was like happy if I had like fresh out of a shower look with like a pair of boxers kind of rolled over kind of a look, no bra, like, or a t-shirt kind of thing, And so embracing lingerie is something that I came to in my 50s.
Yeah.
And I'm loving lingerie. Like, I will wear some shirts that really are meant for lingerie, and people ask me, oh, where'd you get it? I'm like, well, it's lingerie bustier, but I'm not going to tell you that.
Yeah.
But I just think like being sexy, and I feel like I may not have the body I had at 20 and 30, but my mind way outdoes what my mind was in 20 and 30s. And I really believe that part of good sex and being sexy is mental.
And
period.
your confidence, right?
Yes. Yeah. I agree 100%. Like, if a guy's going to get me off, it's like you were talking about the physical stuff, how he looks.
Yeah.
Okay, we do want a guy that, like, I'm an arm girl. I love good arms. But, like, to me, that mental stimulation, like, is everything. That's where you're going to get me, is, like, stimulate my brain.
Right.
And, like, you'll stimulate other areas. What about you?
Yeah. I totally agree. And, talking about lingerie, when I was married, I had every color wig in the world. We had a stripper pole in our living room and a stage. Like, I thought we always kept it exciting and hot. Always, like role playing. I think that's so important.
It is.
Even after being together for like 8 years, we did that all the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I know you said you like aren't dating anyone, haven't met anyone, but what was the last relationship you were in?
When I first moved here 3 years ago, I dated someone for like a minute. And, he just wasn't for me. And it's hard because when they like you and you're like, you like them as a person, but you don't like them, and then you're like, how do I dump them? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of tough. And then since then, I haven't liked anyone, really. It's hard to meet people.
Do you miss waking up in bed with a guy and falling asleep? Really?
I don't know. I'm so used to my being alone. Like I like to, yeah, I don't know. I don't really miss that at all.
So I loved being alone. And I do love, and I have my 2 dogs. Do you have, you don't have dogs?
I'm allergic.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm happy turning on, I call it stupid TV.
Yeah.
And cuddling with my dogs. And that's one adjustment I think I had to really make in dating someone is sharing a bed.
But do you like it now? You love it now, right? Or you're...
I mean, I do, but okay. I would say, so we've been going months together. In the beginning, I was like, okay, when's my alone time? Because I was so used to it and comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And like the other morning, like my alarm went off and I felt something touch me. And I thought it was my dog's paw and it was him. And I was like, oh, he's here. I forgot.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, I'm becoming mushy. Like I'm not a mushy person.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like because like I think one of the beautiful things about dating as a widow, divorced, whatever, in our 50s is like we are alphas. We've talked about this in life and not necessarily in the bedroom, but somewhat, some not. And, I'm finding my heart that I never thought could be a little soft is becoming soft. And I am enjoying that process of femininity that I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I'm letting my guard down.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And, I think as a widow, because of what you said about the money, and I think that's a big issue. People got in my head, whoever I'm dating, they would say, oh, you need to date somebody that has as much means as you or more.
Yeah.
Like that was a criteria I had. And then I was like, is that my criteria or my friend's criteria? Because I dated, and I know you and I have talked about this because some of them have crossed over. Like, I've gone out with some guys that with very deep pockets that could have given me the world and wanted to give me the world. And so were fucked up. Like some of them are like really fucked up. And like some of them are weird. I know some people when they get older and they date, they'll like not even sleep in the same rooms because people are just so set in their ways.
That sounds great.
Right. I think that's why I brought it up. I know a couple specifically, lovely couple, and they're just together for many years, but they don't sleep at night when it's time to go to bed. They don't sleep in the same bed. Like they go to their separate rooms.
I think like it would be great to have like sex and then bye.
Yeah.
You can go home.
You can go. That's kind of,
But you know what? I mean, again, who knows? Like my therapist says, I'm so guarded because of this and that. She's like, but if you meet that, or she says, when you meet that person, because she's sure it's going to happen, everything is going to be different. You're going to have that mind connect and that intimacy that you don't think you'll ever have. But it, like what you're saying happened to you.
Oh my gosh. And Dana, before I met somebody that I'm dating, and you know this because you were part of the process.
Yeah.
It's really funny, actually. So I was done. I mean, I announced I'm done. I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm never going to find a guy in Florida, South Florida. I'm so just done with them.
Yeah.
And I was just put off. And I knew eventually I was going to buy a condo in Newport Beach, California one day because my son's going to raise his family there. So I was like, fine, I'll just go back and meet a California guy. And now
it is in Newport Beach too, like very like suburban and like it's all couple. That's my problem here. It's all couples.
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of how Newport Beach is too, like the families.
You do get it, but I mean, you get single too. You definitely get single. I mean, again, you got Los Angeles, which is the Miami distance to South Florida where we live. Yeah. But you were just in California, and we were just talking about this, like the difference between the girls there versus like here. Like if you were living there, let's just take that for an example, like living as a widow, single at 55 in Los Angeles, do you think it would be easier or harder?
I don't know. I mean, listen, when I went out, like when I go out here, everyone's kind of like all the guys are old and the girls are like young gold diggers. It's all weird. Yeah. There, it was just like everywhere I went, it was just a beautiful crowd of all mix of ages, people my age, people younger, people older, just such a bigger like pool of people. Yeah. So I feel like it probably, and was on Bumble there and there were a lot of people there. I didn't swipe anyone. I just wanted to check it out.
Yeah.
But I think, but you know what? Who knows? I don't know.
Do you find that, you have a lot of confidence. You're gorgeous. You rock it.
Thank you.
Do you think that it would be hard comparing yourself to the women? I mean, Miami is Miami.
Yeah.
But Los Angeles is like the blondes, the gorgeous bodies. It's a different look, right?
I mean, no, because but I don't feel like that. Like, I think if you're attracted to me. If you want the blonde Barbie over there, then go.
Yeah.
Then you're not for me. Go. I don't care.
Right.
So I don't see any other women as competition because you can't.
Okay. So so you were just, okay. So when you go out, because you date girls and guys.
Yeah.
So, okay. In Florida, can you even meet girls out?
No.
Right. I was going to say it's not liberal enough.
No. Yeah. I think everyone's you know what? I call Boca straight white Boca. Like, I really do. It's so like, yeah.
Tight. Yeah. Like nothing diversified.
Nothing. And, I dated a girl a few years ago when I was living in Miami, and we were at like Louis Bossi, like holding hands and walking. And everyone looked at us like we had 5 heads. I'm like, what? It's are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
So do you think it's on the DL here?
I don't know. No, I just think it's such a conservative place.
Right.
I think Miami, it's a lot bigger scene. They have and Wilton Manors, they have like lesbian parties and stuff like that. But here, it's just not a scene here.
So now do you like, with everything that DeSantis, I don't care what your politics are, so go fuck yourself. But DeSantis like fucked up Florida and like, let's just say we're not happy with it on these things. And I'm sure you and I align on that. Yeah. How do you feel do you think like women are less available or moved away as a result of the way he is looking at the state and decisions?
I don't know. I don't know. It was so much women. I think like trans, I think parents, I think it's more like a parents kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't really think it affects a lot of the women and stuff here.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's more parents for their kids' safety that have moved.
Yeah. It's just horrible. Yeah, it really
sad.
is, guys. What's happened. And that's why to have that opportunity to ask you that question, because it's I just think, well, I don't care what your politics are. Stay out of our business.
Yeah.
Right.
Stay out of our vaginas.
Stay out of, yeah. Right. That's a whole nother thing. That's just a whole freaking like, I just have a really hard time with that. And I do sometimes have a hard time saying I live here and people being like, oh, then you must be like this. It's like, no, just because I live here doesn't mean I align like that.
Yeah. Because a lot of people here do align like that.
Yeah.
Not in Miami. When I moved here, I was definitely in for a little bit of a culture shock.
So would you ever move back to Miami?
No, because I don't want to uproot my son.
How old is he though? He's 12. In high school.
No, he's 12.
He looks so much older.
I know.
He's so handsome.
I know.
He's only 12?
He's 12. So I don't want to.
I thought he was like in high school.
No. I got a whole life here with him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So what is it like dating, raising kids at the same time since you were a widow? Like, I bet you were really open at a specific age with them, but like, how do you juggle because it's not like your son's going somewhere else.
Yeah.
How do you pick a night to go out, or how do you deal with that raising a younger kids?
You know what, it's hard because I wouldn't bring anyone home unless I was very serious with him, and I have a lot of single friends that do bring guys, and I don't think that's healthy. You do you, but to just have a like random bunch of different people, so it's hard. And then I'm allergic to dogs. So if they have a dog, I can't go to their house. So when people have a dog in their profile, I'm like, left, like it's crazy.
How allergic are you? Like, do you smell my dogs?
No, I get asthma. I get really sick. So like we'd probably have to get a motel.
So it's okay if my dog it's actually the saliva. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know.
People don't know that.
It's the
They think it's the fur.
Everyone thinks they have a hypoallergenic dog, but it's everything. Yeah.
It's everything.
So like I think dating a girl would be easier. It wouldn't be so like threatening to bring a girl home with my kids.
Okay.
Because
you think like the guys like just kind of want to put a stamp on it?
Maybe.
More respectful?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think they have more of a bonding thing.
So I know when I was a new widow and like first out, like my rules were like, I will only date older guys because that's what I was used to.
Yeah.
Secondly, only adult children. He had to have adult children out of the house. So as you know, going back to what I was talking about, that Dina was part of my first date with the person I'm seeing now.
Yeah.
It's because like, you know, we're brunettes, we're the same age, we're single in Florida. It's a small world, right?
It's an incestuous town within the dating pool.
Like literally any guy that's hit on you, that's hit on me and hit on other people.
My sister, you know, another mutual friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, okay, been there, done it, seen it, nope, bad, whatever it is. So when I said I'm done dating, I'm just going to find someone in California. And I was like, this guy was like hitting me up. And I finally was like, got to have some fun. And I didn't do a deep dive on this person. And I didn't know anything about him. But I sent you like these 2 pictures. I'm like, what's up? And you're like, oh, I know them. But you're being catfished because this other picture. The moral of the story is that he wound up having younger kids.
Yeah.
And being younger than me. And I was like, you know, and just like what you were talking about, that first date, oh my God, it was like, who even remembered what we had for dinner? Totally not. It was
you have to keep an open mind. Like you can't have all your like list.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I
Stone.
learned.
Right.
I learned that. So going back to you and kids and whether a man or a woman coming over to your house, I love his kids. I always joke like, do I love you more than your kids? Like seriously, like where are the girls? Where are the girls?
Yeah.
I forgot that part of me in raising my kids because I had twins and a stepson. We were like the hub house. We had kids every weekend.
I love that.
We were. I mean, I found a picture recently from Costco, like the thing, and I was like, oh, this was a weekend at our house typically. So dating somebody with younger kids has brought me so much gratification because I get to hang out and be like, I'm not a mom. I would never step over that boundary, nor would I ever like be disrespectful and discipline or cross the person I'm seeing in any way or the mom. But I forgot how much I love being that nurturing person.
Right.
And I think that's part of it is it's making me glow because I loved raising kids.
Well, you have a new family. Basically.
Yeah.
So like my dream, my ideal person would be to meet someone with kids because I miss like when I was married, you know, we had a blended family and we did everything as a family. And now it's just, you know, me and my boy here and my boy there. Right. I would love to meet someone with kids like you.
Yeah.
And, you know, do the family thing. That's everything to me.
It's everything. But here's the thing. And this you don't have. My kids are older.
Right.
And they're a little protective. But they also don't even watch my podcast. I mean, they think every session is me talking about sex. And it's not. And I keep telling them that, but, you know, they don't want to believe it. I'm like, you know, so they actually don't want to even talk about or meet the person I'm with yet. And I think it's like, I don't know what it is, but I have to honor and respect their morning. Mm-hmm. So what about your son and his morning process? Like, does he ever say like, I'm okay with this? Or how young was he when his dad?
It's my 24-year-old. He was, I think, 14 or 15, but my husband was his stepfather. Okay. But since he was little.
Same.
Yeah. And, you know, now it's my son wants nothing more than for me to meet someone. But he's like, I don't know if you saw the video I posted. He's like, Mom, you have so many criterias. They can't text you too soon. They can't show feelings too soon. This, that. You need like James Bond. So, you know, I guess he's kind of right. But he'd love me to meet someone.
Okay. So I did see that video, by the way. And I loved it.
But my little one does not want to share me. He doesn't even want me to wear a bathing suit when we go to the beach.
Oh, really? Is it like he's like, you're not a MILF kind of thing? Is it a little bit of a, right?
Yeah, he just doesn't want, you know what? I'm mom. I'm not a woman with needs. I'm just mom.
We're always going to be mom, not a woman with needs. I really think one time I had like a horrible week. It was just like a really shitty week, and I was still just starting out doing this, and like, I don't know, I was in my lingerie, I was going to do a bedroom confessional, and literally I was going to the person's house I was seeing, and before I did like a taping in my bed, and I'm just like, every other word was, I just want to get fucked, I just need to get fucked, I want to get fucked. Like, by the time I got to this person's house, within, I say, hour and a half, I get a call from my son and I'm like, hey, hi, everything okay? Like he's 2 hours behind. He's at work, I think. And he's like, no, not at all. I'm like, what's up? He goes, I got a call and I don't need my mother. Da, 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 da. I'm like, delete. I'm like, I could not delete fast enough.
Oh my gosh.
I never felt like as embarrassed as I did that my son's morals and values were correct. And mom had a slight bad judgment and put it up on a video for a nanosecond.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that sometimes the boys don't want to see mom as a sexual object, i.e. the bikini that you're talking about.
Well, let me tell you something. One time my son, he was going to Israel, my older son, and he borrowed my suitcase. He calls me mortified. He's like, Mom, there were like dildos. By the way, I'm like, I'm going to have to put you up for adoption. I can't be your mom anymore. I like wanted to die. I was so mortified.
Speaking of that, last time you told me about the flower.
Yeah.
I think I bought the wrong flower.
Really?
Because this flower is, okay, you told me about this great, what it does this great, and I'm sorry, widows, come on, we got to take care of each other.
Yeah.
Like, listen, if you're not with someone, keep those endorphins going. I got to tell you, right?
You know what? Maybe you have it on the wrong setting.
No, what is it? Does it have a cord? Like an additional piece? Yeah, I got the wrong one.
You got the wrong one.
You got to send it to me.
To you again.
Because you were like, it just sucks. And like, you just want to stay home and play with it all day. Is what you were like telling me, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, honestly, like, I feel like, so not being intimate and dating, you know, first dates, not being intimate, blah, blah, blah. You know, when we reach a certain age, our hormones are an issue. Right. And I know for me, I lost my libido for a while. Yeah. Like, I just didn't even, I was like, ugh, I dated someone for like a year and a half and it was just a chore. It became a chore. Well,
let me ask you something. Is it like like out of sight, out of mind? And then once you got in a relationship that you're in now, do you feel like it came back?
No.
Oh.
Like, I've been with 2 men since my late husband. And it was like, well, how do I say this? I'm like a virgin. Let's just say that. And so, you know, being older, been through menopause, it's like getting like a tank through a tiny little square hole.
Yeah.
And so I was starting to like, okay, I need to start hormones or something. Why am I so dry? Like, I want to enjoy sex.
Yeah.
But it became a chore with the first person because like, I had to hold it in the whole time. So that was no fun for me. But I was getting concerned. So here's the thing. I literally started dating someone and started seeing a doctor. Like, I was going to start hormones because I don't have a uterus. So I'm not that high of risk for somebody that could potentially get cancer.
Right.
And it's not my family. And I don't know what happened, Tina, but like, I don't have that problem anymore.
Well, that's what it's because you have that chemistry, I think.
I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. Like,
well, that's good to know, by the way.
Like, yeah. Do you get concerned about that?
Yeah, just because right now my libido isn't very high, but I also think it's just because I'm out of sight, out of mind. It's just, you know, when you're not using it.
Yeah, it's like a tool.
But I do have friends that also after menopause and start dating that we're all like are scared. Like, what if what if it doesn't work, or what if I'm dry? Like, I think that's a very common fear with women.
It is, and that's why I hate that people think it's taboo to talk about. But I'm loving having intimacy in my life. I'm loving having days twice a day sometimes.
Yeah.
I never, Dana, thought, because of the experience we're talking about, being so dry, a low libido. So basically, it is the emotional stimulation, I think, that led, and obviously I'm very much, you got to be in my head. And if you're not getting me in my head, you're not getting me off.
Yeah.
Are you the same way?
Yeah. But also, let me ask you something. Why do they spend so much money for guys to have sexual pleasure with their Viagra and all their drugs and nothing for women?
I know.
What?
Right. Oh, stick this cream inside you and ooze out for 5 days, and then the next week stick it in 3 days and ooze out. Oh yeah, how do I get that into my sex life? Literally, that's what my doctor wanted me to do.
I never even heard of that.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's really very unbalanced.
Yeah. So literally, like, I literally was like, okay, so I have to use this shit that I stick up my vagina, and it's like a cream pellet. And
I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah. And so you start off and it's like 5 days, don't quote me on this, and then like 3 days, 2, and then every week 1 day. So I'm sorry, I have to plan when I'm being intimate. I can't be impulsive.
Yeah.
So you're correct. Why isn't there a pill for us?
Yeah.
Oh, good question. Maybe somebody can answer that.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I heard that my gynecologist said there's something called Alli. But I don't think there's very many studies on it yet. But that's supposed to be kind of what people are starting to take now. Insurance, of course, doesn't cover it. So it's very expensive.
So wait, it's called Alli?
I think ALLY.
And what is it supposed to do?
It's supposed to increase your libido.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not like a hormone where it puts you at risk for cancer or anything like that.
Really?
So yeah. Yeah, but I think it's like $600. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
You gotta really want sex back.
Yeah.
So not only are we widows, but then we got to spend a lot of money to keep our libido going there. That's not fair. I mean, blue pills are probably, God knows, covered by, is it covered by insurance?
Absolutely, I'm sure. We got to spend a lot of money on that, and we have to spend a lot of money on keeping our looks up to date.
God, thank you. Like, when I tell guys, like, do you understand? They just hop in a fucking shower if we're lucky. On those dates, like some of these guys, I'm like, I remember going on some dates and like guys had their sunglasses hanging on their neck. I'm like, it's 8 o'clock by now. We're in a nice intimate dinner. You can take your sunglasses out of your shirt, off your head.
Yeah.
Like
my last date, that was like for a second. I couldn't wait to get out of there.
The one you text me? You were like, I'm so over this shit.
I was like, I spent the like 15 minutes staring at his ear hair, like ear hair, like just, groom yourself.
Oh my God. I just fucking groom the shit. Like buy a magnifying mirror, guys. And look up your nose and look in your ears and
take your car in your rear view mirror. Carry like
tweezers, shit, whatever it is. Do something.
I mean, I do that.
Yes.
Do it. It's gross.
You know what else is really funny? And like, I shave I don't know if you're laser. Do you shave?
I'm lasered.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm late on the bandwagon on lasering. And like, I'm giving this advice to you guys, ladies. This is kind of silly. But like, we shave underarms. Well, one day when I was putting on my makeup, because I'm so blind, I have to use like the 20 magnifying kind of shit. Yeah. And my arm reached over and I saw my underarm. I was like, horrified. There was hair there like I never saw when I shaved. So girls, ladies, I'm telling you, I'm giving you this task. You'll thank me later. Lift your arm if you shave and look at a 20 magnifying and you'll be like, holy shit, I've been missing this area for all these years.
And you know what? Lasering is your underarms, that part doesn't even hurt. That's not painful. And it's just so easy to do.
I'm dipping back into that. I started the whole body lasering thing.
Yeah. I mean, some parts like here.
Oh, yeah.
That kills. Underarms, nothing.
Yeah. Well, I was doing like head to toe, just do it all.
Yeah.
And I think it was a bad laser and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like that's another thing. I think like, God forbid we want to do something cosmetic. Like, I don't like, okay, people talk about body shaming. I feel like society sometimes shames us as women if we want to do something to make ourselves more enhanced.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like, oh, accept who you are. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, I get that. But like, I'm about to, and I'll see how it goes. On the end of September, I'm doing that like being put under CO2 shit where they burn your skin and you look like a burn victim, and then supposedly you're supposed to look like virgin skin. Yeah. But it's like, okay, that's not so bad, right?
I mean, there's so much technology, and I mean, so many things out there. Why not?
Right.
Why not?
Right. And I think like I was with somebody once and he was like put off with the idea that I wanted to do any plastic surgery. And it was like, but this isn't about you. Right. I'm doing it for me.
Right.
And it's like, I don't like when men like say to you, like, why are you going to do this or that? I don't think I look plastic, like, at all.
I was just going to say, you look very, very beautiful. Thank you. I can see someone saying it when they're like, the women are just, their cheeks are too puffy. Yeah. Their lips are, like, my lips used to be huge. And a lot of people are like, you should kind of dissolve it a little bit. I get it, but, I think you look beautiful and natural. And that's the way to go.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you do too. We're lucky. But look, like we said, the Botox is not working. That shit happens. But you know what? There's some parts I will embrace, but if I want to do something, I want to do it. And, as a widow, listen, in my situation, I was caring for someone a long time. I let myself go, and I'm enjoying just bringing back my inner beauty, inner, outer, both, and make me feel positive about dating. And, I love the fact that, you have this just great sparkle about dating. But, it's funny because you would think talking to you and looking at you, because you're like really uber smart too, which people don't know that I know. And you're very worldly and well read and the most amazing mom, because we just know that part about you. And, I'm surprised. And I bet you other widows are going to be like, oh, well, she has it so easy. Look at her. She's not successful. What makes you think I'm going to be successful? So, what advice would you give to other widows about, like, let's get started, let's get out dating? Like, what tips do you have?
Okay, so, right after my husband died, I ended up getting in a relationship, which a lot of people judge me, and I get it, because I would think the same thing. But you know what? Hindsight, it kind of helped me get through. I think you need to do what you have to do. I feel like new widows are like, it's only a year. People will judge me. It's 2 years. I'm not I think that you have to do what your heart tells you. Like, your spouse unfortunately is gone and you're still here, and you have to live. You have to live. So, there's no rules at all. Just, do it. Live your life. Ooh, I have goosebumps because it's so true.
Yeah, it is true.
And people are going to judge for everything. Oh, it's a year. It's 3 years. How can you date? It's 2 months.
Right.
Whatever. You're alive. You're here. Live your life.
It's one life. Mm-hmm. And if you don't live it, what are you going to do?
Right. You can't sit home and you grieve. Yes, I get it.
And everyone's grief is different. Everyone's journey is different.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. And, in closing, what is double standard? It's okay for a guy to do it. Because guys can't be alone.
Yeah, right.
Have you heard that?
Yeah. Right? Guys always date immediately after.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And it's like, she started dating within 6 months. It's like, oh, she's a little hoe, or, whatever it is.
Or you'll see pictures of them out, like, on social media, like, smiling. Like, how can they, what? Maybe they're drinking to mask their, their pain. Like, people just are so quick to judge, and it's not fair.
It's not fair. And so, in closing, I think Dana brings up a good issue. If you're a widow and you're getting ready, don't listen to the noise.
Yeah.
Do what feels good for you. Yeah. If you want to start dating, fucking date.
And reach out to us if you need some support, right?
Yes. I mean, that's the whole point of this podcast, is helping other women feel like, oh, there is options, or I don't have to feel this way, or there's a different roadmap, or I don't know where to go. Because I think society puts a stigma about what you may be feeling, and through discussions between the two of us. And what I love is putting out there is no one roadmap. Everybody's is different. Right. I mean, you have a journey. You get to fucking date girls and guys. I think that's fucking hot and great and an interesting another podcast to go into. But I mean, I think it's good. I mean, that's a whole different juggling act right there. But I thank you for coming on, and hopefully,
thanks for having me again.
My pleasure. And I'm hoping that guys, you watched, you listened to Dana and I, and we can be giggly, we can be funny, we can talk about it. It doesn't have to be a depressing subject. So with that said, we're signing off. Thank you for listening or watching, and keep going, because we're going to always be here and lift you guys up and hopefully share only what we do know. I'm not a coach. I'm not licensed. I just share.
Just share.
Okay. Bye, guys.